Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's top stories. The Pentagon now naming all 3 of the U.S. troops killed in a drone attack in Jordan. Who they are and what the White House is saying about possible retaliation against Iran. Congress on the verge of striking a bipartisan deal on border reform that could unlock foreign aid for Ukraine and Israel. The ATM machine tied to a van and dragged away. We'll take a look at the brazen theft caught on video. First up, the names of the dead now released and more injuries reported. The Pentagon unveiled new details about the deadly drone strike on U.S. troops. The White House vowing to retaliate but not escalate. Here's NTD's White House correspondent Iris Tao with more on the Sunday attack and U.S. response.
The Pentagon has now announced the names of all 3 U.S. service members who were killed in a Sunday drone attack on a U.S. base in Jordan. They were 46-year-old Sergeant William Rivers, 24-year-old Specialist Kennedy Sanders, and 23-year-old Specialist Brianna Muffet. All of them were from Georgia, and the father of the 24-year-old Kennedy Sanders saying today that their family was going to celebrate her homecoming in just a few months. Meanwhile, also today, the injuries reported climbed to 40, and the Pentagon is saying that it's trying to investigate how the drone was able to cause such damage. Watch.
We are still assessing what happened and how a one-way attack drone was able to impact the facility. We're not going to discuss further specifics or measures we're taking to prevent such actions or future attacks.
The Sunday incident is believed to be the deadliest attack on U.S. forces since the 2021 Afghanistan withdrawal, in which 13 U.S. service members were killed. Meanwhile, both the White House and the Pentagon say that they believe Iran is the one behind the attack, which is directly carried out by the militant group in the region. But as Republican Senator Lindsey Graham is calling on President Biden to directly strike Iran, the White House is saying today that it does not want to go into war with the Iranian regime. Watch.
We do not seek another war. We do not seek to escalate. But we will absolutely do what is required to protect ourselves, to continue that mission, and to respond appropriately to these attacks.
And we shall respond.
President Biden vowed on Sunday that we shall respond. The White House saying today that President Biden is weighing his different options as he's facing a challenge to balance the need to protect our interests and the need to avoid a war.
We are intent on doing both.
While some Republican lawmakers are criticizing the Biden administration for being too weak in response.
The administration, quite frankly, has acted so weakly, so absolutely we do need to react in a way that will deter further attacks.
And the White House today pushing back against the GOP criticism, saying that it's following a doctrine of appeasement. The White House says that's absolutely not the way how they see it. Back to you.
Now let's take a look at other top headlines.
Democratic Senator Chris Murphy, a key negotiator on the possible border deals, said on Sunday that the text of a border compromise could be ready to go to the Senate floor as soon as this week.
We do have a bipartisan deal. We're finishing the text right now.
The deal would give the president authority to shut the border between ports of entry when illegal crossings reach high levels. Also reforming the asylum system to resolve cases in a shorter time frame and expediting work permits. President Biden has said he would sign it right now.
If that bill were the law today, I'd shut down the border right now and fix it quickly.
Along with the tighter border control, the bill would also unlock Republican support for Ukraine aid. Earlier, Republican senators had insisted that border policy changes should be a prerequisite to Biden's $110 billion emergency request for funding Ukraine and Israel. Former President Trump has come out in opposition to the bill. He said there could be no compromises on illegal immigration and called the deal a betrayal of America. He said that if Biden really wanted to secure the border, he already has the power and tools to do it without a bill.
A lot of the senators are trying to say respectfully they're blaming it on me. I said, that's okay. Please blame it on me. Please. Because they were getting ready to pass a very bad bill.
House Speaker Mike Johnson warned in a letter last week that the deal would be dead on arrival. Republicans currently hold a very thin majority margin in the House of Representatives, with just 219 seats, while Democrats control 213. A former IRS contractor was sentenced by a judge on Monday to 5 years in prison for leaking the tax records of former President Donald Trump and thousands of other wealthy Americans to media organizations. Charles Littlejohn, 38, pleaded guilty in October to a charge of disclosing income tax return information without authorization. According to the plea agreement, Littlejohn took the financial data while he was employed at a consulting firm that had contracts with the Internal Revenue Service. He ultimately leaked more than 8,000 income tax returns relating to about 7,600 people. Prosecutor Jonathan Jacobson said Littlejohn improperly sought to influence the 2020 election and reshape our nation's political discourse. The 5-year sentence was the maximum penalty and what prosecutors requested. Republican Senator Rick Scott of Florida, whose tax records were part of the leak, spoke out in court against Littlejohn's plea agreement with prosecutors, calling it a sweetheart deal. China's biggest corporate fail ever. Today, a Hong Kong court ordered China Evergrande, the world's most indebted real estate developer, to liquidate. This was after the property developer was unable to reach a restructuring deal with creditors. The judge stated a lack of progress on a viable proposal as well as Evergrande's insolvency. Evergrande has over $300 billion of total liabilities. The company was granted an earlier reprieve after saying it was trying to refine a new plan, and that was 2 years ago. With around $240 billion worth of assets, it is expected that a provisional liquidator will be appointed to oversee Evergrande before a permanent appointment is made. Evergrande, the company, first defaulted on its financial obligations in 2021 amid China's crumbling financial markets and real estate crisis. Since the recent peaks in February 2021, about $6 trillion, equivalent to roughly twice Britain's annual GDP, has been wiped off the value of Chinese and Hong Kong stocks. The world's largest cruise ship set out on its maiden voyage from Miami this past weekend. Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas is about the size of 4 city blocks and runs nearly 1,200 feet from bow to stern. The ship left Miami Harbor for its first week-long island-hopping tropical cruise. It can carry up to 7,600 passengers at maximum capacity along with the 2,300 crew members. To put things into perspective, the Titanic was around 830 feet long and held around 3,300 people. The ship has 6 water slides, 7 swimming pools, an ice skating rink, a theater, and more than 40 restaurants, bars, and lounges. It's powered by 6 dual-fuel engines, which can be powered by liquefied natural gas. Tickets range from $1,700 to $2,600 a person, according to Royal Caribbean's website. A high-season cruise around Christmas will set you back around $5,000 a person.
In California, a brazen ATM heist unfolds. Video captured a machine tied to a van and dragged down Oakland Road. NTD's Stephanie Sekal reports.
Criminals taking extreme measures to steal ATMs is not unusual, but a recent video caught an ATM tied to a van being dragged down a road. This incident has sparked an investigation by the Oakland Police Department into 2 cases of stolen ATMs. The footage shared on social media captured the theft near the soon-to-close In-N-Out, prompting public concern. The stolen ATM from the Bank of America at 300 Hagenberg Road was seen being dragged down on a Sunday morning. The person who recorded the video reported seeing 3 or 4 people involved in the theft. Police found damage at the crime scene and discovered another stolen ATM near Home Depot on 37th Avenue. Anthony Pearson was arrested on the same day in connection with the stolen Bank of America ATM, but police are still looking for additional suspects. Police say the Alameda County District Attorney's Office has already charged Pearson. Stephanie Sikal, NTD News.
Dramatic pursuit unfolds when a woman clings to a cart hood in downtown Los Angeles after thieves snatched her French bulldog. NTD's Stephanie Sikal reports.
A woman in downtown Los Angeles clung to the hood of a moving car after thieves stole her French bulldog Onyx outside of a Whole Foods store on January 18. Ali Zacharias chased the thief holding onto the car's windshield wipers, but eventually she fell off at 9th Street and Grand Avenue. She sustained bruises and cuts, but avoided serious injuries. Zacharias expressed sadness over missing moments with Onyx and lamented the swift passage of time since the incident. The Los Angeles Police Department is actively investigating and reviewing security footage to identify the suspect and locate the missing dog. Stephanie Sikal, NTD News.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. Stuck in a ski gondola for 15 hours. How did one woman survive freezing temperatures while waiting for help? Audiences applaud Shen Yun Performing Arts as shows wrap up in Sacramento, California. More on what theater goers had to say. The NFL Conference Finals kept the sports fans on the verge of their seats. We'll bring you some highlights from this past weekend's action. Those stories and more coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Zhang. The investigation has been launched after one woman says she was stranded overnight in a ski gondola amid freezing cold temperatures. NTD's Christina Corona has more on the story.
Monica Lasso was trapped for 15 hours inside a ski lift gondola at Lake Tahoe last week. Lasso told KCRA that she boarded the gondola around 5 p.m. Thursday at Heavenly Ski Resort to ride down the mountain because she was too tired to snowboard. However, it stopped just minutes later while she was still in the sky. Lasso said she yelled for help, but no one on the ground heard her. She told KCRA, "I screamed desperately until I lost my voice." Lasso didn't have her cell phone and couldn't call for help. Lasso said she spent the night rubbing her hands and feet together to fight off the cold. According to the National Weather Service, the overnight low temperature dipped to 23 degrees. Lasso's friends reported her missing to the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office on Thursday, but she wasn't found until Friday morning when the gondola started up again for the day and crews realized she'd been there overnight. The ski resort is conducting a thorough investigation with the highest level of seriousness to determine how Lasso became trapped. A spokesperson from South Lake Tahoe Fire Rescue said that sheriff's deputies requested for their paramedics around 8:30 a.m. Friday when Lasso was found. Lasso was responsive and alert, but chose not to go to the hospital. Christina Corona, NTD News.
Several circus animals were rescued after a truck transporting their trailer for a weekend of circus events caught fire on the Indiana highway. NTD's Christina Corona has more on the story.
The tractor trailer ignited around 2 a.m. in northeastern Indiana on Interstate 69 in Grant County Saturday. A state trooper, a deputy from the Grant County Sheriff's Office, and a third person successfully rescued 5 zebras, 4 camels, and a miniature horse to safety as they guided the animals off the smoke-engulfed trailer. The truck was carrying the animals from Florida to Fort Wayne for 4 circus shows benefiting the Misva Shrine Circus. When the truck's crew stopped the vehicle to check a problem, they discovered a fire had quickly spread. Footage posted by the Grant County Sheriff's Department shows camels strolling on the highway, positioning to its shoulder. Zebras can also be seen calmly munching on grass. Both officers were treated for smoke inhalation at a hospital and were later released. The animals and the 57-year-old truck driver from Sarasota, Florida were all unharmed. The blaze destroyed the truck, prompting a second one to be dispatched to pick up the animals. criminals and bring them to Fort Wayne's Memorial Coliseum to await their roles in the weekend's family-friendly circus performances. The performances are annual fundraisers for the Miswa Shrine Circus to help pay for the upkeep of the Shrine Center in Fort Wayne. Christina Corona, NTD News.
Shen Yun Performing Arts wrapped up their Sacramento shows in California. Audience members say they are moved by the performers' bravery and passion.
At California's capital, Shen Yun wowed audience members in Sacramento for their first two performances on January 24th and 25th. Most saw the performance for the first time.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing. Just the choreography, the dance, everything about it, it's amazing.
Love it. All the CGI in the background. That was really amazing how the ladies and the fellas would jump off the platform and then time it perfectly with all of the CGI acting going on in the back. It was great.
Storyline's passionate. I was extremely impressed by the synchronicity in the users, the players, the dancers, but just their passion. And I was actually quite moved by how brave they are to bring the story forth.
Shen Yun's mission is to revive 5,000 years of China's divinely inspired culture, much of which is lost during the Cultural Revolution.
The culture is vital. It's a huge part of, I think, what they're trying to express, and it's, to them, I can imagine, it's deeply spiritual. It's more than just, I come here and dance. It's like I have a story to tell.
The divine intervention that they kept showing, I really enjoyed that. It was a nice message that you don't see a lot these days.
It does put you in touch with the tradition. That's interesting, enlightening, inspiring. It was really great.
Shen Yun brings China's myths and legends to life on stage. It also depicts China today. Under China's communist rule, people are persecuted for their faith.
I think the freedom in which they have to deliver the message is, as an American, that's one of our foundations. So it was very inspiring to see that.
What they are doing is not an easy story to tell. It's not an easy story to tell in a way that's going to engage your audience and bring forth the passion. And you can see how much they love what they're doing and how important it is actually to them. So conveying that in an audience and generating that level of enthusiasm is also a little bit difficult, and they've done it beautifully.
It was beautiful. Just totally thrilled. It was such a treat to watch them do their true art, and the message was beautiful as well.
NTD News, Sacramento, California.
Now shifting our focus to the gridiron. Let's dive into the thrilling action from this past weekend's NFL Conference Finals that have fans on the edge of their seats. NTD's Carlos Reyes has more on the action.
The Kansas City Chiefs, who faced their fair share of challenges throughout the regular season, showcased resilience and dominance in a stellar performance against the Baltimore Ravens. At its heart, the Kansas City win could not have been possible without Travis Kelce's dominating play. Kelce stole the spotlight with an incredible 11 receptions for 116 yards, including the Chiefs' first touchdown. Kelce's exceptional performance didn't stop there. He set a new NFL record for postseason catches with an impressive tally of 152, surpassing the legendary Jerry Rice. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes orchestrated the offensive symphony with precision, connecting on 30 of 39 passes for 241 yards and a crucial touchdown. Mahomes demonstrated versatility by opting for shorter throws when necessary, but his connection with Kelce was nothing short of perfection, a flawless 11 of 11 completion rate when targeting the star tight end. The pivotal moment of the game came early on when head coach Andy Reid made a bold decision to go for it on 4th and 2 from the Baltimore 41. Mahomes delivered under pressure, completing a 13-yard pass to Kelce, sustaining the drive that eventually led to the Chiefs' opening touchdown. From that point forward, the Chiefs never trailed and their Super Bowl aspirations soared. The San Francisco 49ers, seemingly down and out at halftime, trailing by 17, unleashed a furious second-half surge led by the dynamic duo of wide receiver Brandon Ayuk and quarterback Brock Purdy. Ayuk's heroics, combined with Purdy's resilience after a rough start, propelled the Niners to a 34-31 victory over the Detroit Lions. Christian McCaffrey found the end zone twice, adding to the offensive firepower that ignited the comeback. Purdy, overcoming early struggles, showcased his dual threat abilities, finishing with 267 passing yards, a touchdown, and crucial scrambles when it mattered the most. But let's not forget the storyline of the season, the 49ers' ability to come from behind when it counts. Just a week after an impressive turnaround against the Green Bay Packers, the veteran-led Niners rattled off 27 unanswered points, tying an NFC Championship game record for the biggest comeback. Now the 49ers find themselves with a shot at their 6th Lombardi trophy, and in a twist of fate, they'll face the Kansas City Chiefs in a Super Bowl rematch from 4 years ago. The Chiefs, known for their own comeback magic, erased a deficit in Super Bowl 54, setting the stage for the Niners' journey back to the grandest stage in football. In the quarterback breakdown, Purdy showcased resilience and poise, bouncing back from a challenging first half to deliver when it mattered most. His 48 rushing yards and key scrambles added a new dimension to the 49ers' attack. However, the biggest question mark loomed over the Niners' defense and its ability to halt the Lions' running game. Defensive coordinator Steve Wilks forced a formidable challenge, and while adjustments were made in the third quarter, the Lions managed to tally 182 rushing yards, exposing a vulnerability in the 49ers' game plan. Now, if I had to sum up the game in 2 words, it would be comeback kids. The 49ers silenced the doubters who questioned their ability to stage late-game rallies, securing their place in history alongside the 1994 Chargers as the only teams with multiple 7-point second-half playoff comebacks en route to the Super Bowl. Carlos Reyes, NTD News.
And that's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.